Hello everyone. Before we begin, consider subscribing if you enjoy calm journeys through the wonderfully weird corners of nature. Get cozy, settle in, and let your mind drift as we explore the strange yet very real life of a platypus. A creature so wonderfully bizarre that people once thought it was a hoax sewn together in a prank. From your webbed feet to your duck-like bill, you are built for a life of mystery and quiet skill. Your story begins not with a dramatic entrance, but with the gentle cracking of an egg, one of only 2 mammals on Earth who do this. Tucked inside a muddy riverbank burrow, you share a warm, earthy nest with a few siblings, all curled under your mother's soft fur, wrapped carefully in her tail as you break free from the tiny shell. The world is dark and hushed around you, only the steady lullaby of water outside. Your bill is soft and pale, your feet tiny and clumsy, your eyes sealed tight. You nurse on your mother's milk, which she kindly oozes through skin pores instead of nipples, a system that might sound silly to humans, but is perfectly designed for you. The days pass softly in your secret burrow, the steady river singing outside as you grow stronger. Your bill begins to harden into its signature shape, that delightfully silly-looking tool that will soon be your superpower. You grow heavier, more curious, your senses sharpening with every hour. When the air shifts and the water scents drift deeper into the tunnel, something stirs in you, a tug of wild instinct. One day you simply cannot resist. You shuffle forward, poking your head toward the tunnel entrance, drawn by the cool breeze of the world beyond. Then, with a tiny courage known only to baby platypuses, you slip into the shallow water, webbed feet testing the current for the very first time. The chill makes you shiver, but excitement bubbles up and you push forward, paddling awkwardly, bill quivering to taste the river's secret code of life. Soon you discover just how marvelous that silly-looking bill truly is. Packed with electro-receptors, it reads the faintest tremors of insects, shrimp, and worms hidden in the mud. You almost taste the tiny pulses of life. With a flick of your webbed feet, you dive under, scooping up your first real meal, tucking it into your cheek pouches like a furry, river-dwelling chipmunk. When you surface again, you chew slowly, savoring this strange but delicious pride. And so begins your lifelong pattern. Dive, search, scoop, store, surface, chew, repeat. The river becomes your buffet. Every small creature that wriggles or pulses with electricity, your personal delicacy. You gain confidence, your paddling stronger, your movements smoother. Each day brings new skills, new secrets, new corners of the river to explore. There is an entire kingdom waiting for you out there, if only you are brave enough to paddle into it. In the days and weeks ahead, you grow into a true child of the river. You memorize where the deepest holes hide shrimp, where the slow, glassy pools protect wriggling worms, and where the roots of drowned trees make the perfect hideouts for a surprise snack. But along with the feasting comes danger. A hawk might wheel overhead, sharp eyes scanning for a careless young platypus. A snake could nose around your burrow, eager for eggs. Even water rats, small but fierce, might raid your cozy den if you leave it poorly guarded. So you learn caution. You slip deep when a shadow crosses the water, hugging the mud when vibrations warn of something big passing close. Patience you discover as survival, as essential as your bill or your webbed feet. And night after night, wrapped in soft reeds and fur, You dream of new adventures that wait just beyond your burrow. As you grow, the river becomes your old friend and your constant challenge. It shifts with the seasons, sometimes gentle and low, other times a roaring torrent that tears at the burrow walls you have so carefully patched with leaves and twigs. You feel these changes in your bones, in the trembling current against your bill, in the taste of the muddy water. When the floods come, you scramble to protect your den, digging emergency tunnels higher into the bank, dragging in fresh grass to pad the egg chamber, just in case. The river tests you like a stern but fair teacher, reminding you that a safe home is never guaranteed. Sometimes a rival platypus drifts by, curious, bold, perhaps a little foolish. You flash the venomous spur on your hind foot, not out of meanness, but because even a calm, quiet creature needs a line of defense. It is a strange weapon, almost comedic in its size, yet powerful enough to make bigger animals think twice. You prefer peace, but the river respects the quiet ones who stand their ground, and you are learning exactly how to do that. As the years pass, you become an elegant swimmer, a true nighttime hunter moving through water as easily as others move through air. Your bill, once so soft and awkward, is now a precision tool, reading even the faintest flicker of a worm's heartbeat under inches of silt. You hardly notice how your body has grown, how strong your tail has become, how steady your webbed feet paddle, because you are too busy studying the river's endless puzzle. Every ripple and swirl carries secrets. Where is the shrimp hiding tonight? Which stones shelter sleeping beetle larvae? Which root tangles are safe, and which ones might shelter a snake? You glide through these questions like a scientist, testing, learning, remembering. The river is your school, your playground, your pantry, and sometimes your stage for a bit of comedic drama, as you clumsily bump into a log or chase a fish that is simply too quick. You may look odd to outsiders, but you are a professional in your world. One night, a change in the air stirs you. The river smells different, sharp with distant rain, alive with secret messages. It is time to think about family. You explore upstream, searching for a quiet, hidden place to carve a new burrow, one where the waters rise and fall won't drown your future eggs. You dig carefully, a true architect of mud and root, crafting winding tunnels with hidden chambers to hold your dreams. You line them with dry leaves and soft reeds, a perfect nest for the eggs you will guard with such devotion. There is pride in your work, though no one sees it but you. After all, you are one of only 2 mammals on Earth who lay eggs, a fact so surprising to humans that some still refuse to believe it, but you know better. When the moment comes, you settle your eggs in their chamber, wrap your warm tail gently around them, and wait. Patience becomes your entire world, breathing softly in the dark, listening to the river as it hums its ancient lullaby just beyond your den walls. When your eggs finally crack, life begins again in the smallest of ways. The hatchlings are blind, soft-billed, clumsy things, barely able to squirm. You cradle them close, protecting them from damp and cold, letting your warm milk ooze gently from your skin for them to lap up. No nipples, that would be far too conventional for a platypus. Just a perfectly strange way to feed your young. In the quiet dark of the burrow, the hatchlings grow, day by day, learning to breathe, to paddle, to sense the river's moods through the comforting curve of your tail. Soon, they will shuffle out, drawn by the same cool breezes and river smells that once called to you. And when that day comes, you will watch them slip into the water, webbed feet flailing, bills twitching with wonder, ready to discover their own kingdom, just as you did. Your work will be done, and the river will carry their stories forward, just as it carried yours. Seasons flow past like a slow-moving current, each one weaving fresh challenges and fresh rewards into your life. The river grows warm with summer, crowded with insects and tiny fish, an endless buffet if you know where to look. You drift through its secret lanes like a quiet phantom, plucking beetle larvae here, shrimp there, your bill a finely tuned sensor of life's soft electric heartbeats. The hatchlings you once guarded so carefully have grown bold and clumsy, darting after minnows with all the finesse of a soggy pinecone, and you watch them with a sort of gentle pride. After all, you were once just as awkward, bumping into rocks and stirring up clouds of silt as you learned the ways of this watery realm. Now you glide with an elegance you earned through trial and error, showing them without a word how to hunt, how to hide, how to live. In the gentle hush of night, you guide them back to the den, a tired but patient teacher, knowing that someday they will leave for good, weaving their own stories among the reeds and roots. As they grow older, the river seems to expand for them. They test every inch of it, poking their soft bills into dark corners, chasing tiny fish with reckless enthusiasm. Danger still waits, of course, a hawk's shadows slicing over the shallows, or a snake curling through a flooded tree root, but they learn, as you did, blending caution with curiosity. Sometimes one of them forgets, dashing for a shrimp and nearly becoming a hawk's midnight snack, and you watch from below, heart pounding, ready to defend if you must. Luckily they learn quickly. A near miss is the best teacher the river can offer. You relax again, your own bill twitching as you read the current, searching for a midnight feast. Beetles, worms, freshwater crayfish, all these become your banquet, and you savor them with the calm confidence of one who has mastered the art of living quietly in a dangerous world. As the seasons cycle through once more, your children finally slip away, carried by instinct and a river's constant pull to find their own space. You feel an emptiness, a small ache, but also a satisfaction. You have done your part, and the river flows on. Alone again, you rebuild your tunnels, patching leaks from winter floods, and lining the nest chamber with new leaves, just in case. You swim your rounds, bill dancing over the mud, reading messages in electric pulses only you can send. Life feels slower now, less frantic, but just as full. Each night brings the small joys of fresh prey, the comfort of a clean, dry den, and the peaceful music of the river's flow. Sometimes you float on your back, letting the water cradle you like a mother's arms, watching the stars shimmer through the rippling surface. For a moment you almost laugh at yourself, a furry, egg-laying, venom-footed marvel, living out its days in quiet contentment while the world above rushes past without noticing. And the river has no hurry, and neither do you. When rains return, you are ready, having learned how to read the color of rising water, how to sense the shifting mud walls of your home. You repair and reinforce, weaving sticks and reeds into a sturdy nest that can resist even the worst floods. Sometimes another platypus will wander close, and you exchange a polite bill bump, a quick swirl of curiosity, but little more. You are comfortable in your own company, after all, and the river is large enough for many. Nights pass in this simple rhythm. Paddle, hunt, hide, sleep. You wonder perhaps if you will see another generation rise from your tunnels, a new pair of soft bills cracking through their shells, eager to explore. The thought makes you smile in a quiet platypus way as you close your eyes and let the water rock you toward another gentle night of rest. The calm of your nights is sometimes broken by strange visitors. Once you catch the distant vibration of a human's steps along the bank, their boots thudding against the earth in an oddly clumsy rhythm. You stay hidden, bill pressed close to the mud, reading their presence like a foreign language. They peer into the water, hoping for a glimpse of you, but you slip deeper, a ghost among the weeds. You chuckle in your own quiet way at how silly they look, noses pressed to cameras hoping to catch a picture of the creature some still think must be a prank. Let them wonder, let them imagine. The mystery is part of your magic, part of why you are so perfectly suited for this strange life. Once they leave, you resurface, a calm master of your watery stage, ready to resume your night's hunt. The river feels welcoming again, the gentle hush of ripples closing around you like a blanket. The darkness is your true ally, your shield against eyes that do not belong. Time continues its endless dance, each season laying down another quiet layer of memory. In winter the water grows cold, sending insects deeper into the mud, but you are patient, nosing through the chilled silt for a worm or the occasional sluggish beetle. You slow your movements, conserving energy, letting the river teach you to wait. When the days finally grow warm again, you celebrate with a grand feast of newly hatched shrimp, the river practically buzzing with life. You are not alone in the celebration. Fish dart, frogs chorus, dragonflies skim the surface in glittering flights of acrobatics. All the while you paddle gracefully below, plucking treats like a connoisseur at an endless banquet. It is a festival written in currents and ripples, a silent party that only a few are privileged to attend. The years slip by, each one drawing soft lines of wisdom across your life. Your bill seems more sensitive now, reading subtler signals than ever before. You know every rock, every tree root, every deep pool as if they were family. The burrow you built has weathered floods and storms, a testament to your quiet determination and clever design. Once a flood so strong nearly tore it apart, but you rebuilt, stronger and higher, weaving new branches to keep the eggs you might one day guard safe. It is not a glamorous castle, but it is yours, and you sleep each night in peace, because you know exactly where you belong. Other creatures come and go, the river changes its face day by day, but you remain, an enduring guardian of a soft, leafy kingdom. Even with so many seasons behind you, your sense of wonder never fades. You still feel that tiny thrill each time your bill twitches with the pulse of prey hiding beneath the silt. You still delight in a perfect dive, slipping through water without a ripple, your cheek pouches ready to collect a fresh haul. Your bill might look silly to those on the bank, but it is a superhero's tool to you, as powerful as any eagle's claw or wolf's tooth. And your venomous spur, still sharp, still enough to remind any unwelcome visitor that this soft, sleepy river dweller is not to be underestimated. You move through your domain with a calm confidence, a creature perfectly suited for the strange niche you call home. Your life finds a steady rhythm, a kind of gentle song that only the river seems to understand. You rise at dusk, slipping from the quiet safety of your den, your bill tasting the world before you even fully wake. A cool swirl of water greets you like an old friend. You paddle forward, sure and strong, your webbed feet pushing through the current while your flat tail steers you with practiced ease. Each night is a fresh story written on the river's surface, one you read line by line, swirl by swirl. Beetle larvae shift under the silt, shrimp scuttle through the reeds, and tiny fish hover just long enough to catch your notice. You work with a patient, comedic grace, scooping them into your cheek pouches like a furry underwater chipmunk stocking up for winter. It might look clumsy to someone watching, but to you it is an art form, a ballet of soft bills, webbed feet, and perfectly timed dives that keep your belly full and your heart happy. As the moon climbs higher, you patrol your territory with quiet pride. Other platypuses may sometimes wander close, but you greet them with a careful swirl, a polite bump of bills, a reminder that you are here and this place is yours. If they linger too long, you flex your venomous spur, an elegant yet humorous gesture for such a peaceful creature. It might be small, but it sends a clear message. Most visitors get the hint and drift away, leaving you to your business. You are not lonely in these nights. The river is company enough. Its ripples whisper stories of the land beyond, the owl calling from the trees, the possum scuttling along the branches, even the wind that rattles the tall reeds. You listen to it all, woven into the night's chorus, feeling at peace among these small, familiar voices. In the calmest hours before dawn, you pause to rest, floating in a quiet pool where the current slows and the water feels almost warm. You let your body relax, eyes half closed, your bill still twitching to keep track of any last-minute snacks drifting by. The night air smells of damp earth and leaf litter, a fragrance you have known since you first cracked your tiny eggshell. Here the world seems to wait with you. Stars blink far above, mirrored on the water's glassy surface. For a moment, you could almost believe the river was holding you in a gentle hug, promising you one more night, one more hunt, one more chance to explore. And so you drift, balanced perfectly between sleep and wakefulness, trusting in the river to keep you safe until the sun returns. When dawn's pale glow finally reaches the river, you slip back into your burrow, satisfied and calm. Your den is a fortress of tangled roots and smooth earth, built to resist even the worst floods, lined with soft grass you carefully gathered on your nightly travels. You settle in, nose tucked under your tail, wrapped in the comforting quiet of your own little world. Here no hawk can reach you, no snake can sneak up on you, and no storms can wash you away. This is the reward for your hard work, your patience, and your quiet strength. A place to rest, to dream, to live without fear. You drift off with a full belly, letting sleep carry you down into the dark, gentle tunnels of your dreams, ready to begin the cycle again when the night calls once more. Some nights, the river brings surprises, so strange you almost laugh through your bill. Once, as you glide beneath the surface, you sense a huge vibration above, heavier than a hawk, clumsier than a rat, and far too bouncy for a snake. You peer up to see, through a shimmering patch of moonlight, a kangaroo taking a moonlit drink on the riverbank, its giant feet making the ground shake in a silly, uncoordinated rhythm. It stares at the water as if trying to solve a difficult math problem, then takes a cautious sip, before hopping away in a series of wild, awkward leaps. You watch, amused, then slip back under, grateful you don't have to bounce around like that just to travel. Another night you sense a flock of ducks paddling across the shallows, quacking in noisy conversation, oblivious to the quiet world below them. You almost want to tap them on the feet, just to see the silly flurry of feathers they'd make. But you're too polite for that. So you leave them to their gossip and return to your hunt. Occasionally a wandering wallaby pauses by the water, its small paws nervously testing the edge of the river. You can practically feel its curiosity rolling through the mud as it sniffs the air. Wallabies, you decide, are the river's day shift, cautious, jumpy, and never quite sure what they're looking for. You, however, are the calm night manager, patrolling your buffet with quiet grace. There are nights when humans return as well, shining bright lights into the dark water and muttering excitedly to each other, trying to catch a glimpse of you. You stay hidden, bill against the silt, fighting the urge to wave just to see their faces. Let them wonder if you're real. Let them go home with stories of a magical duck beaver that vanished like a ghost. You rather enjoy being a legend, a mystery woven through their imagination, while you slip away into the calm, familiar hush of your river world. The river itself can surprise you too. Logs appear where there were none the night before, washed downstream by distant rains. Sometimes a swirling current spins you around like a leaf in a teacup, and you come up sputtering, cheek pouches full of shrimp you nearly forgot you'd caught. Or a sudden school of fish might dart by, so fast and shiny it feels like the whole river turned into living silver for a moment. You learn to flow with these surprises, to accept the river's sense of humor. And you do have a sense of humor, even if no one notices. Who else could paddle around with a duckbill and still look dignified? These moments remind you that life is not all caution and hunting. There is wonder here too, small joys folded into the currents, waiting to make you pause and smile. Each night, after these surprises, you settle back into your calm routine. Your den still waits, dry and welcoming, lined with the softest grass you can find. You drift through the entrance tunnel, your tail leaving faint tracks in the mud behind you, a gentle mark that says home. The river is quiet again, stars bright overhead, the breeze rustling reeds like a lullaby. You curl up in your nest, a champion of calm and quiet, letting the world's oddities drift away while you rest. The kangaroos, the ducks, the humans, they can worry about the mysteries of the world. You, dear Platypus, know the river will always welcome you home. The river, patient as ever, continues to feed you mysteries. One night, you sense a strange ripple, something oddly round, drifting slowly along the surface. You creep closer, cautious yet curious, only to discover it's a lost turtle, paddling in lazy circles, as if it forgot where it was going. You watch with quiet amusement as it bumps against a log, pauses, then tries the exact same path again. Eventually, the turtle makes its way downstream, leaving you to wonder what adventures it had seen, or perhaps just how it managed to get so delightfully lost. You give it a silent farewell, then dive back into the deeper water, hunting for worms with the grace of a nighttime gourmet. Little encounters like this brighten your quiet life, adding a splash of wonder to your nightly round. The river never bores you, not when so many characters share its waters. Sometimes you witness things so surprising they almost feel like dreams. Once, a wedge-tailed eagle, regal and sharp-owned, swooped down for a fish, but missed, sending its unlucky target leaping high enough to splash water right across your face. You blinked in shock, cheeks stuffed with a half-eaten beetle, water dripping from your bill like the punchline to a silly joke. The eagle gave you a passing glance, almost embarrassed, then soared away to try again elsewhere. You chuckled in your own platypus way, thinking how even kings of the sky have off nights. Here, beneath the surface, you are safe, a silent witness to nature's grand comedy. Sometimes, the river feels like a stage, where every creature gets its moment of triumph or its stumble, and you, with your electro-sensing bill, get front row seats to every show. As weeks turn to months, you slip back into your peaceful patterns. The water cools and warms again, carrying the scents of distant mountains and rainy forests. You grow a little older, a little wiser with each cycle. Your burrow grows deeper, sturdier, its walls smoothed by seasons of careful tending. You line the sleeping chamber with fresh leaves, weaving them like a tiny architect might, making a fortress of softness against the damp. In the deepest, stormiest nights you rest there, trusting that your craftsmanship will protect you from the river's wildest moods. And it does. Year after year your den stands firm, a testament to your skill and gentle persistence. Other animals come and go, their stories brief ripples across your lifetime, but you remain, a steady presence, a calm keeper of the river's secrets. Your nights continue, a dance of quiet purpose, hunt, feed, glide, rest. You savor every small victory, the plump beetle you catch in perfect darkness, the shrimp so sweet it feels like a prize, the gentle hush of water against your fur. These are your treasures, gathered one peaceful night after another, reminders that even the simplest life can be rich with joy. The river hums around you, your partner in this endless waltz, carrying stories and memories from faraway hills down to your cozy corner. As you doze in your leaf-lined burrow, a soft, tired smile seems to pass across your bill. You have everything you need: a safe home, good food, a curious heart, and the world's most wonderfully weird sense of style. Truly, for a platypus, there is no greater happiness. One night, a heavy rainstorm sweeps in, drenching the land so thoroughly that even the eucalyptus trees seem to shiver. You feel the change before it arrives. The river's current grows restless. The water tastes charged with distant thunder. Safely tucked in your burrow, you listen as rain pelts the earth above, drumming a lullaby that echoes through the tunnels. But storms can be tricky friends. When the river swells, it tries to crawl into your den, greedy for space. You move quickly, plugging side tunnels with reeds, pushing mud against tiny leaks, your heart beating steady and strong. You've done this before. You are a burrow engineer, after all, trained by 1,000 river moods. And when the waters finally recede, you step out into the fresh, shining night. Everything washed clean, the stars blinking through a clearing sky. You give a satisfied flick of your bill. Another night survived, another lesson stored away in your quiet, steady mind. As you resume your hunting rounds, the river feels different, recharged by the rain. New scents drift downstream, damp moss, broken twigs, tiny insects flushed from their hiding places. It's a buffet you can't resist, and you nose through the fresh mud with the enthusiasm of someone discovering a surprise feast. You scoop up beetle larvae as plump as grapes, find shrimp crowded in tangled roots, and even stumble on a small snail creeping slowly across the silt. You pause for a moment to marvel at it. How does something so slow even survive in a world full of hawks and snakes? You give the snail a gentle nudge with your bill, a silent good luck, then paddle on, returning to the night's work. For how many ways life finds to survive in this river. The planet has a whole life and tendency and a miracle of walk. Not every creature is as peaceful as you, of course. You catch the hint of a large shape gliding through the current, a water rat, bold and determined, scanning for an easy meal. You slip low to the mud, bill reading its heartbeats, ready to dive away if it comes too close. The rat noses along a tree root, oblivious to your hiding place, then moves on, searching elsewhere. You sigh with relief. Even a master of the night like you knows when to pick battles wisely. You prefer the calm life, the soft, steady patterns of hunting and resting, instead of dramatic confrontations. Yet you are never helpless, and you know how to defend your burrow if danger pushes too far. Your venomous spur stays sharp, a silent reminder that even the most peaceful soul has a line they will not let others cross. As dawn approaches, you drift back to your den, carrying memories of another night's strange wonders. The turtle lost in circles, the brave little snail, the storm that tested your walls. They all weave together into a quiet story that only you will ever know. You slip through your tunnel, water dripping from your fur, cheek pouches empty, but heart satisfied. As you settle into the soft grassy chamber, sleep wraps around you like a second river, gentle and calm. You sigh, a tiny ripple in the hush, and close your eyes, ready to dream of another night to come, another chance to glide through the dark water, bill twitching for the faintest signs of life, while the rest of the world sleeps above, never knowing how perfectly odd, how quietly marvelous you really are. As the days warm, the river begins to bloom again with fresh surprises. Tiny fish flicker through the shallows like living jewels, and new insects dance above the surface. Throwing a party you can't help but crash. You swim among them like a quiet guest, your bill tuned to every electric heartbeat. There, under a low log, a plump crayfish scuttles backward, its claws brandished in a silly show of bravery. You almost chuckle as you scoop it up, ignoring its tiny protests as you tuck it safely into your cheek pouches. You've learned that every creature in the river has its drama, its battles, its story to tell, even the crustaceans with their crabby attitudes. You drift on, bills sweeping side to side, reading the muddy script of the river floor as if it were a bedtime book written just for you. Farther downstream, the river has changed since the last flood, carving new channels, digging away old roots, making fresh pools that sparkle in the moonlight. You explore them with all the curiosity of a young pup, even though you are older and wiser now. There, a school of minnows hides in the weeds, moving like one shimmering ribbon. Here, a water spider tiptoes across the surface, so delicately you almost expect it to start dancing. And of course, a nosy kangaroo stops by again, peering at its reflection with the same confused expression you remember from seasons past. You watch from below, amused, before returning to your slow, practiced hunting. The river is a stage, and you are both its actor and its audience, always ready to play your part. Other nights, You catch the soft thud of wallabies bounding through the reeds, stirring up insects that scatter in a panicked cloud. Thank you, you think, as you snatch a few of the startled bugs in the confusion. Even the clumsy hopping of a wallaby can turn into a dinner bell, if you're quick enough. The river has taught you that. To look what comes with a calm heart and a clever bill. Your sense of humor helps too. You chuckle at your own muddy reflection. Bill smeared with silt after a particularly enthusiastic dive. You do not mind looking a bit silly. The river has never judged you for your strange looks. In fact, it seems to celebrate your oddness, rewarding you each night with a fresh menu of worms, shrimp, and beetles that no one else can find so well. By the time dawn peeks over the gum trees, you've made your rounds, full and content. You slip back into your den, pausing to check the entrance tunnel for any damage, smoothing the walls with practiced movements of your bill and feet. The river's rhythms have taught you caution, but they have also taught you pride. Pride in your home, your skills, and your quiet courage. You settle down in the grassy nest you built so carefully, safe from hawks, safe from snakes, safe from all the world's storms. As you close your eyes, the gentle swirl of water outside lulls you into sleep. Another night waits just beyond your dreams, another chapter in the river's never-ending song, and you will be ready to greet it when the darkness calls again. The seasons slip past like drifting leaves, each bringing its own melody to the river. Spring's arrival fills the air with the sweet tang of blossoms, and the water runs high and eager after fresh rains. You can taste the newness in the current, alive with tiny creatures swept from flooded banks. Plump worms, confused insects, even the occasional stray tadpole bouncing through the shallows like a lost toy. You savor these surprises, your bill working overtime to scoop them up, cheek pouches bulging with the night's harvest. Somewhere overhead, a possum squeaks from a tree, annoyed that the rain ruined its dinner plans. You listen with amusement before ducking under a log, sliding through your secret kingdom with a grace only you could truly appreciate. The river might rise and fall, but your place in it remains as steady as a stone. On a calm night after a flood, you explore a new side channel, freshly carved by the river's unstoppable force. It feels like discovering a new room in a familiar house, full of hidden corners and quiet pools that beg to be explored. There, you find a small school of fish, trapped by a swirling current. They dart in circles, confused by the maze of weeds. You move gently among them, choosing one with careful precision, leaving the rest to scatter into the dark. Your bill is an artist's brush, painting the river with the silent strokes of a predator who needs no speed, only patience. A soft satisfaction hums through your body as you move on, belly satisfied, mind calm, heart full of wonder for how endlessly interesting your watery world can be. Sometimes the river throws you a curveball, worthy of a comedy. One night you catch a giant splash in a shallow pool and investigate, only to find a confused kangaroo, half swimming, half flailing, trying to climb out after a misjudged jump. You watch with wide-eyed wonder as it kicks water everywhere, finally scrambling back to shore with a grumpy, dripping look. You'd laugh out loud if platypuses could laugh properly, but instead a small bubble slips from your. As another season unfolds, you feel its quiet invitation, like a soft nudge from the river itself. The days grow longer. The water warms under a sun that paints dappled light through gum leaves overhead. Insects hatch in buzzing clouds, performing dizzy dances that would seem chaotic to anyone else. But to you, they are a buffet in flight. You rise through the shallows, bill flicking side to side, sensing every flutter and twitch. With a swift dive, you scoop up a beetle larva as plump as a grape, savoring its odd crunch with the calm dignity of a creature who knows exactly what it likes. The river gives generously, and you accept with gratitude, following its secret paths as night deepens around you. Sometimes a frog will bellow from a patch of reeds, its voice absurdly huge for such a tiny body, and you pause to listen, amused, before paddling onward. The night is full of surprises, both delightful and dangerous. Once you catch a sudden rush of movement, a young goanna lizard skimming through the shallows, bold and a bit too nosy for its own good. You sense its heartbeat as it creeps closer, testing the water for anything to snack on. You slide backward, letting the mud swallow your shape, waiting until it wanders off, distracted by something shinier. That's the river's way. Everything hunting, everything hiding, everything trying to survive. It might seem harsh, but you have learned to admire it, the honesty of it, the constant challenge. Besides, it keeps you sharp. You flex your webbed feet, bill tingling with the faint crackle of prey beneath the mud, and glide off into deeper water, where the night feels more familiar and safe. Sometimes you catch glimpses of other curious visitors. A human child, perched on the bank with wide eyes, points and gasps, calling you a duck beaver with innocent wonder. The parents laugh, snapping photos, whispering stories about a creature they can barely believe exists. You stay still, just below the surface, letting them see a quick flash of your bill before you vanish into the dark with a flick of your tail. Let them wonder, you think, feeling a small pride in your mystery. Humans come and go, their footprints washing away with the next rain, but you remain, a quiet legend in the river's memory. You glide away under the reeds, carrying that moment with you like a shiny stone, another piece of your secret story. By the time the eastern sky brightens with the first breath of morning, you are full, calm, and ready to rest. You ease back into your tunnel, walls smoothed by countless returns, and slip into your leaf-lined nest. The water hushes outside, steady and comforting, while your eyes grow heavy. You dream of frogs singing, of awkward kangaroos splashing, of beetles dancing in the summer night. Your bill twitches once in your sleep, as if tasting one last delicious worm. All around you, the river moves on, eternal and forgiving, promising another night when you wake, another gentle adventure in a world that may look strange, but feels, in every way, perfectly your own. With the next cycle of seasons, you find the river wearing a fresh face once again. Autumn breezes flutter across the water, sending gum leaves drifting like tiny boats. You nose through them with quiet amusement, bill tapping each one as if inspecting a fleet of toy ships. Some carry hitchhiking beetles, and you scoop them up with a practiced flick. Your own personal river snack. The water cools, sharpening your senses, making every swirl and tremor feel cleaner, crisper, like the river itself is taking a deep breath before the chill of winter arrives. You are ready for it, steady as always, your den reinforced, your bill sharpened by experience. Nights are growing longer, giving you more time to explore, to hunt, to listen to the gentle lullabies sung by reeds, brushing against each other in the breeze. One evening, the current brings you a surprise, a group of ducklings bobbing through a patch of reeds with wide-eyed innocence. They paddle in circles, following their mother, who seems just as confused as they are about which way to go. You watch from below, fascinated by their fluffy clumsiness, feeling a strange kinship. You, too, were once tiny and clueless, bouncing around the river until instinct and practice taught you how to thrive. The ducklings eventually find a path downstream, and you slip on your way, letting them have their silly adventure. Nearby, a bandicoot scurries through the wet grass, rustling so loudly it might as well have carried a bell. You stay hidden, patient, watching everything with the calm focus of a river-born master. Deeper into the night, you explore old familiar spots, returning to a hollow log where beetles always gather after dusk. Sure enough, they are there, wriggling through damp bark, and you collect them like prized candies, stuffing your cheek pouches with careful delight. In these small rituals, the same log, the same patterns, the same quiet confidence, you find a kind of peace. Nothing feels rushed, nothing feels wasted. Each night is just another chapter, another slow-moving dream told by the river itself. The world above may hurry, but down here, time moves in long, soothing arcs, as steady as your heartbeat, as gentle as your paddle strokes. When you finally head home, the stars glimmer high above, mirrored in the calm pools that mark the river's slower bends. You pause to float on your back for a moment, letting the night cradle you, eyes half shut, bill twitching at the faintest hints of prey below. Even here, half asleep, you remain alert, a creature designed to sense every tiny signal. But tonight nothing threatens. Tonight the river is kind, carrying only the soft calls of night birds and the slow swirl of water. You slip down into your den, tail leaving faint marks in the mud, and curl up in the hush of your leafy nest. Another night waits just beyond your dreams, filled with bugs and fish and unexpected visitors, and you are ready for it. Ready to dive back into your wonderfully weird, perfectly peaceful river life. As winter approaches, the river slows, moving heavy and dark beneath a sky gone pale and cold. You sense the chill through your fur, every dip into the water a bracing shock that makes you paddle a little faster, eager to warm your body through the rhythm of the hunt. The insects burrow deeper now, hiding from the cold, but you know their tricks. Your bill's electro-sense reads them like glowing lanterns under the silt. You dig them out with patient skill, savoring each wriggling meal, grateful for the river's generosity, even in its quietest season. Sometimes a late hatching beetle surprises you, slow and sleepy, almost too easy to catch. You take it gently, respectful of its place in the river's story, and tuck it away in your cheek pouches. Nights feel longer in winter, the dark stretching on, but you do not fear it. Darkness is your comfort, your companion, wrapping you in its silent calm. On one of these deep, still nights you notice something odd, the faint thudding of kangaroo feet again, but even more clumsy than usual. Peeking above the water, you see a young kangaroo, clearly not yet a master of its hopping talents, bouncing down the bank and slipping straight into the icy river with a splash. You freeze, bill twitching with surprise, then watch as it scrambles out, soaked and shivering, giving you a look that almost says, "Please forget this ever happened." You would laugh if you could, but instead you sink beneath the surface, a bubble of amusement escaping from your nostrils. The river holds so many stories, and you're there to witness them all, a quiet keeper of small, silly secrets. Other winter visitors surprise you too. A sugar glider swoops low across the river one night, its skin stretched wide like a living kite, banking away from a hawk that nearly caught it mid-glide. You see the hawk's talons miss by mere inches, sending the glider tumbling through the reeds in a frantic scramble. You marvel at its escape, clumsy but determined, and make a note to be even more careful on your own nightly round. Danger never sleeps here, but then again, neither does wonder. You slip quietly away, leaving the drama behind, content to follow your own calm patterns through the river's winter hush. At dawn, you find your way back to the den, water dripping from your fur, bill still tasting faint ripples of faraway fish. You slip into the warmth of your leaf-lined chamber, grateful for the small comforts you've built with patient claws and a clever mind. Outside, the river slows to a whisper, steam rising from its surface as the cold morning light arrives. You curl up, wrapped in your own soft tail, and close your eyes. In dreams you will hunt again, explore again, laugh again at clumsy kangaroos and desperate sugar gliders, always certain that this river, strange and perfect, is exactly where you belong. Spring begins to stir, softly and surely, waking the river from its winter hush. Warmer rains sweep through the valley, carrying fresh scents and washing new life into the water. You sense it first in the way insects hatch in glittering clouds above the reeds, a living festival of wings and legs and endless buzzing. Your bill twitches with excitement. The buffet is back, and you are ready. You dive eagerly, tasting the currents for the faint pulses of returning shrimp, the sleepy wriggle of early beetle larvae, all fresh from their winter hiding spots. The river feels lighter, faster, dancing around your paws as you paddle through it with renewed confidence. Spring is a welcome old friend, and you greet it like a joyful child, bill sweeping the riverbed in wide, eager arcs. The river's neighbors return too, drawn by the promise of softer days. One night you spot a long-legged heron stalking the shallows with a patience to rival your own. You pause to watch it spear a fish with that lightning-quick beak, feeling a small moment of admiration. There is elegance in its method, a mirror of your quiet skill. You nod your bill, as if offering a silent greeting to a fellow hunter, before you slip away, deeper, chasing your own prey. And then another surprise. A possum scrambles down a leaning branch for a sip of river water, nearly falling in head first. You almost snort a bubble through your bill at its awkward save, paws flailing before it regains balance and scurries away, embarrassed. You wonder if you ever looked that clumsy on your first dives. Probably, you decide, and let the thought make you smile. The burrow meanwhile needs tending after months of storms and high water. You dig out fresh tunnels, patch crumbling walls with reeds and grasses, and weave the sleeping chamber even softer than before. It is your fortress, your nursery, your quiet refuge, and you keep it strong with steady dedication. When you finish, you stand at the tunnel's mouth, bill lifted to taste the night air, proud of the home you have built over seasons and storms. The river flows on, acknowledging your work with a soft, endless hush. Out there, the world is noisy, kangaroos crashing, frogs singing, humans calling to each other. But here, inside your den, there is only peace, a silence you earned through patience and gentle skill. As dawn returns, you slip back into your nest, belly full, heart calm, fur damp but warm from the night's adventure. You curl into the leaves, your bill resting across your tail, and let the river's gentle lullaby carry you into sleep. In your dreams you see the heron again, the possum, the beetles and shrimp, all woven together in a soft, drifting story that belongs only to you. The river promises more mysteries tomorrow, and you are ready, always ready, to greet them, to glide through the moonlit water, bill quivering with excitement, and live your perfect, peaceful, marvelously strange platypus life once again. As the gentle grip of spring tightens, the river practically hums with life. Warm breezes rustle the reeds, setting off ripples that dance across the water like tiny silver footsteps. You paddle through them with practiced grace, bill reading the living pulses hidden in the silt. Each night feels like a celebration. Beetles clambering out of their winter burrows, freshwater shrimp darting in wild little zigzags, even a brave tadpole or two venturing close enough to be scooped up by your careful bill. You feast with measured calm, savoring each catch, each wriggle, each taste of fresh spring bounty. The river offers its gifts freely, and you accept them with quiet gratitude, one peaceful mouthful at a time. Not far away, another human appears on the bank, a grown-up this time, boots caked with mud and eyes searching for a glimpse of you. They shine a torch over the water, hoping to see the famous duck beaver in its natural habitat. You stay hidden, floating just under the surface, bill twitching, almost amused by their clumsy attempts. For a moment, you think of breaking the surface, letting them see you clearly. But then you remember the mystery is half your magic. So you slip deeper, leaving them to wander, a living ghost of the river. The humans can go back and tell their stories, show blurry photos, and argue over what they saw. That's fine with you. You'd rather remain a secret whispered by the river. As the night deepens, you find a new place to hunt, a shallow pool left behind by the last flood. It is packed with minnows, swirling like a living cloud, their tiny hearts beating a perfect chorus for your sensitive bill to read. You pause, taking in the electric symphony, before diving in, scooping up a mouthful with a calm efficiency that would impress any predator. You don't take too many, just what you need, letting the rest dart away in their shiny pan. After all, the river will feed you tomorrow too. There is no rush, no need to hoard, only trust in the rhythm of your gentle, river-shaped life. The river's neighbors return in full force as the spring unfolds. A bandicoot hops along the muddy bank, nose twitching curiously before scurrying off. A flock of cockatoos shriek overhead, startling you so badly you nearly inhale a bubble. You resettle, letting the panic fade, then continue your slow paddle through the current, chuckling in your own silent way. Even in the calm, surprises happen, and you've learned to accept them as part of the river's charm. The night is full of these small, silly interruptions, and they keep your heart light, reminding you that not every ripple is danger. Some are just stories waiting to happen. By dawn, the river has calmed again, the birds beginning their morning chorus. You slip back into your burrow, the entrance still strong and dry after a night of heavy swimming. You settle among your soft leaves, tail curled close, bill resting gently on the nest. The world outside feels busy, hurried, always chasing something. but you have found peace in the slow, thoughtful movements of your river life. You close your eyes, drifting into sleep with the quiet pride of a creature who belongs exactly where it is, exactly how it is, wrapped in the soft embrace of a place that has always welcomed you home. In the weeks that follow, you watch them grow, their bodies hardening, senses sharpening, their bills forming the same incredible electro-receptors that guide your own hunts. They practice paddling motions in the dry safety of the den, and you teach them caution without words, the slow wisdom of the river's dangers and gifts. One night, drawn by a scent on the current, they finally follow you to the tunnel's mouth. Their first touch of water is clumsy, awkward, but unstoppable. You lead them out, showing them how the river welcomes and challenges, how the chill can bite, but the water can hold you, how the currents carry both prey and peril. They follow, webbed feet splashing, bills twitching, and you feel a deep, patient pride bloom inside you, as calm and strong as the river itself. The days pass in a hush, the river moving on beyond your burrow while you guard your precious clutch. You do not leave them unprotected, resting with gentle stillness, so the eggs stay warm and hidden. The world outside continues its drama, floods, birds, the endless cycle of life. But you keep your focus inward, every heartbeat tuned to those fragile shells. And then, finally, a small crack, a faint push, a shiver of motion. One by one, your young break free, blind and tiny, helpless in the dark warmth of the nesting chamber. They nuzzle against your fur, seeking your milk, delivered in the strangest way, oozing gently through pores rather than from any nipple. It is a perfectly designed system for a perfectly strange animal. They drink, growing stronger day by day, their soft bills twitching as their instincts begin to wake. You work for days, gathering fresh grasses to weave into soft bedding, creating a gentle cradle for your future eggs. The river sings around you as you build, its currents carrying stories of minnows and frogs and shrimp, but you focus on your task. A platypus mother is both architect and guardian, and you take that role seriously. When everything is ready, you slip into the chamber, breathing deeply of its earthy scent, satisfied that it will keep your family safe. Then comes the waiting, a quiet patience that feels as deep as the river itself. Finally, you lay your eggs, tiny soft-shelled treasures, fragile yet strong with life's promise. You curl around them, tail drawn gently across their surface, sealing them into a warm embrace, and the world outside narrows to nothing but the steady rise and fall of your breath. As the warm days stretch on, your instincts shift, tugging you toward the deeper rhythms of life. The river is calm, heavy with the sweetness of late spring, and something within you stirs, a quiet readiness, a promise written into your bones. You begin to search for the perfect place to raise the next generation, drifting slowly through familiar channels, reading the river's subtle cues. Here, the bank is too shallow. There, the roots are too exposed. Finally, you find it a high, sturdy spot, sheltered by tangled branches, far from the strongest currents. With calm determination, you begin to dig, your strong claws pushing through damp earth, creating winding tunnels with careful curves and hidden bends. Each scoop of mud is placed with purpose, until a long, secure burrow reaches back from the river's edge, ending in a warm, dry nesting chamber you will line with leaves and reeds. Your young begin to discover their new world, one paddle at a time, clumsy in the current but eager, driven by instincts older than memory. They dive shallow, surfacing often, bill quivering with every flicker of passing insects and fish. At first they miss their targets, snapping at drifting leaves and bubbles instead of prey. But you do not rush them. You glide alongside, showing with each smooth dive how to move, how to sense, how to capture food in the hush of moonlit water. Slowly, their bills begin to read the language of the river, the heartbeat of a shrimp, the tiny flick of a beetle larva, the faint vibration of a buried worm. Their paddling steadies, their dives grow deeper, and a new confidence rises with each successful catch. You watch them grow day after day, offering silent encouragement from your place in the current, as the river welcomes these new apprentices of the night. As they grow stronger, they grow bolder, exploring farther along the river's winding lanes. They poke into flooded roots, test deep pools, and taste the stories of every swirl and eddy. You stay close, alert for danger, but give them space to learn, knowing the river will teach them as it once taught you. Some nights they grow tired too quickly, returning to the safety of the burrow with a grumble of frustration. Other nights they chase after shadows until dawn's first light paints the water gold, so full of curiosity they forget to fear. You teach them balance, how to slip low to the mud when danger passes, how to read the smallest change in water pressure, how to sense a predator's presence before it strikes. These lessons, quiet and steady, are your gift to them, ensuring they will know how to live here long after you are gone. In time, their skills sharpen until they can feed themselves with easy grace, cheek pouches bulging with a night's feast. They return to the burrow less often, drawn by the call of independence, pulled forward by the river's endless song. You feel a soft ache in your chest as you watch them slip into the current alone for the first time, knowing it is right, knowing this is the pattern you have lived yourself. You retreat to your den, resting, satisfied that your work is done. You have given them shelter, taught them caution, fed them stories of the river written in ripples and mud and flickering prey. Now they belong to the water, as you always have. Soon they will build their own burrows, guard their own eggs, and raise their own young in these same currents. Your own nights settle back into familiar rhythms. You hunt alone once more, diving deep and silent, reading the river's secrets. You reinforce the walls of your den, patching leaks from fresh floods, keeping your chamber safe and dry. The river changes. Banks crumble, trees fall, the water carves new pools and buries old ones, but you remain steady, adapting with the quiet grace of one who belongs here completely. Your bill still twitches at the smallest flicker of life. Your webbed feet still push you through the water with practiced power, and your venomous spur stays ready should any rival stray too close. Though you have aged, the river still holds you, still feeds you, still recognizes you as one of its own. Summer returns, warm and heavy, wrapping the river in a slow golden hush. You feel its power ripple through every current, stirring old instincts to wander. The water is lower now, flowing clear around the roots of towering gum trees, and insects crowd the shallows in busy swarms. You move with a confidence born of many seasons, slipping between shadows, bill twitching with quiet purpose. There is no rush. Every night offers plenty, a calm banquet of beetle larvae, freshwater shrimp, and small fish resting in the tangled weeds. You take what you need, then glide on, your movements measured and silent, a creature entirely at peace in its place. Your old burrow still holds strong, its walls polished by countless returns. You check for leaks after the first summer storms, packing new grasses into the chamber, smoothing the tunnel with your bill until everything feels right. It is your fortress, built to stand against floods and protect you from prowling predators. Each time you rest within it, you feel the weight of its safety, like a soft shield between you and the outside world. Even as your children have gone on to make their own dens and territories, this place is still yours, a testament to your quiet craftsmanship, season after season. As summer deepens, the river grows busier with life. Dragonflies dance in sparkling clouds over the shallows. Frogs sing their pulsing songs from reeds, and fish chase tiny insects in wild, playful flashes. You weave through them, part of the same ancient rhythm, sensing the heartbeat of each living thing. The occasional eel drifts past, powerful and silent, reminding you that even in peace, there is always a larger hunter watching. But you have learned how to avoid them, how to read the faint vibrations that give away their long, ribbon-like shapes and slip into safer water before they draw too close. It is a knowledge written into your bones, taught by 1,000 nights in this river's embrace. When the air grows so warm it tastes heavy on your bill, you rest in the deeper pools, where the water stays cool and slow. You let yourself float, fur gently rippling, bill turned upward as sunlight breaks through the leafy canopy overhead. You can almost sleep there, eyes half closed, trusting your bill to stay alert for any danger. The river cradles you in its steady arms, a patient friend who has seen you through floods, droughts, hunting triumphs, and narrow escapes. You think of your young, grown and gone, now paddling their own secret paths, hunting in their own quiet way. The knowledge brings a calm pride that hums through your whole being. At last, when dusk returns, you wake from your drifting rest, bill twitching with hunger. Another night begins, another chance to dive, to chase, to glide through familiar water like a living part of it. The river welcomes you, as always, carrying your memories along its winding course. Each ripple tells your story: egg, hatchling, hunter, teacher, builder, survivor. And tonight you continue to write new pages, one dive at a time, one tiny heartbeat detected through the mud, one gentle breath in the hush of an endless summer river. Summer's rain stretches on, long and unhurried, bringing nights filled with soft warmth and a chorus of life all around you. Insects hum at the water's edge, frogs join in with their pulsing calls, and small fish flicker like living sparks beneath the silver-painted surface. You glide through it all with an easy grace, the river's quiet master, bill scanning for those faint electric pulses that betray hidden prey. Beetle larvae wriggle in the silt, freshwater shrimp cling to weed beds, and tiny worms twist through the mud, a steady feast for a skilled hunter. Your movements are calm, efficient, a rhythm as familiar as breathing. As you grow older, you notice small changes in your own body. Your fur grows a bit coarser, your paddling a touch slower on cold nights, but your bill stays sharp and your senses remain keen. You have learnt every bend of the river, every snag of drowned tree roots, every hollow where prey likes to gather. These are your treasures, your secrets, built over years of patient exploring. The river has tested you with floods, droughts, and prowling predators, but you have outlasted them all, holding your place with the quiet determination of one who belongs exactly where they are. Some nights you feel the tug of memories, the burrow where you first hatched, the soft scent of leaf-lined tunnels, the clumsy paddling of your young as they learnt to dive. They are gone now, far downstream or upstream, weaving their own stories through this wide green river. You trust they are strong enough, wise enough to survive, because you taught them carefully. That knowledge soothes you, settling into your heart like a warm current. Alone does not mean lonely. The river is always with you, its music woven through your thoughts, as naturally as your own heartbeat. The season shifts again, gently at first, then with sudden storms that paint the sky black and send rain pounding against the earth. You retreat to your burrow, waiting out the floods behind thick walls and woven reeds, water dripping down the entrance tunnel, while you rest in the dry, leaf-lined safety of your chamber. You feel the river's power pressing against your walls, testing them, but you have built well. When the flood finally recedes, you emerge into a world fresh and bright, the water high and filled with new scents. You breathe it in through your sensitive bill, ready to hunt, ready to explore, ready to live. In these moments, the river feels endless, its gifts always renewing. You paddle out into the rising current, bill twitching with excitement, knowing there will always be another night, another dive, another heartbeat to chase in the deep, silken hush of your home. You belong to the river as surely as the river belongs to you. An unbroken story told one quiet night at a time. The storm-burnished river glides on, carrying away broken branches and fallen leaves, reshaping its curves and carving new secrets along its muddy banks. You slip through its freshened channels, exploring as if seeing it all for the first time. The silt is rich with overturned worms and startled shrimp, a feast waiting for your practiced bill. You move steadily, tasting every subtle signal that pulses through the water, never rushing, never wasting. Your webbed feet push you with perfect balance, a lifetime of paddling woven into every stroke. Here, in the familiar dark of the current, you feel more alive than anywhere else, a true child of this hidden world. Each night brings a lesson, even after all your seasons. You discover a new pool carved by the storm, deep and shaded beneath tangled roots, sheltering fish who thought they were safe. You dive again and again, your cheek pouches filling with each easy catch, savoring the smoothness of your routine. There is a calm pride in knowing exactly how to hunt, how to hide, how to survive. You are the river's quiet perfection, sculpted by its patient hands over years. Your senses still tuned as sharply as the day you first slipped out of your mother's burrow. As summer winds toward its final days, you sense the shifting air, the subtle change that heralds autumn. The river seems to slow, gathering its strength for the months ahead. You feel it in your bones, a cooling that brings back old memories of chill nights and high waters. Your body is ready. Your fur thickens, your den stands strong, and your instincts sharpen. You know the burrow will need fresh repairs soon, but you trust in your ability to rebuild, as you have every year. This cycle comforts you. Seasons rise, seasons fade, but the river remains, and so do you. One dusk, you pause in the water, still and silent, listening to the evening chorus, frogs calling, insects buzzing, a distant splash of a fish breaking the surface. The river breathes around you, gentle and steady, wrapping you in its lullaby. You think of the next season's eggs, the young that will one day hatch, guided by the same currents that once carried you. This future feels certain, calm, as timeless as the river's flow. You move on, slipping deeper into the night, bill twitching, ready to search, to feed, to rest, to rise again. In every heartbeat of the water, you sense your story continuing. It is an unhurried tale, told over countless years, one dive at a time, in a world that may change, but will always welcome the platypus. Quiet, peculiar, and perfectly at home. As autumn finally takes hold, the river cools, its currents smoothing into long, glassy drifts that flow with a quiet strength. You feel that chill through your fur, a nudge that reminds you to slow down, to be more deliberate in each dive. Insects grow fewer now, and shrimp hide deeper under stones. But you have learned the river's secrets too well to go hungry. Your bill guides you surely through the dark, finding those faint electric signals beneath layers of mud and leaf litter. Every night becomes an act of practiced grace. Paddle, sense, dive, feed. The river's rhythms calm you, and you follow them with the peaceful confidence of a creature who has survived many seasons. Your den remains your sanctuary, holding the warmth of old grasses and dried reeds woven into its walls. You check its chambers carefully after each rainstorm, packing new leaves to keep it dry. There is comfort in this work, in knowing you can protect yourself from the river's wild moods. The tunnel, long and winding, still feels safe, the scent of your own fur and earth mingled in its walls, reminding you that you belong here. In the deeper recess of the nest chamber, you sometimes rest and listen to the river's hush, letting it rock you like a lullaby. Each swirl and echo a promise of another dawn. Your own body changes as autumn deepens. Your coat grows thicker, water beads on it easily, keeping you warm even when the air grows biting cold. You move a little slower, but with no less care, conserving your energy for the hunt. You know by heart where the river runs deepest, where fallen logs shelter tiny fish, where last summer's storm carved new hollows, perfect for winter's prey. This quiet knowledge feels like treasure, earned dive by dive, night after night, a gift from the river itself. As the leaves above you turn gold and orange, falling into the water to drift past your nose, you sense the promise of the next cycle waiting. One day you will help create another generation, guide them to the river's edge, watch them fumble through their first dives, just as you once did. They too will learn the language of the river, the taste of beetle larvae in the mud, the subtle signals of shrimp hidden in the reeds. You trust that they will thrive just as you did, under the patient lessons of water and current and moonlight. For now, you simply live. You dive, you hunt, you rest. You move through each night with calm steadiness, a creature perfectly fitted to its world. The river holds you, its waters cradling every heartbeat, and you belong to it as deeply as it belongs to you. And when the dawn comes, soft and cold, you slip back to your den, ready to sleep, ready to dream of the next hunt, the next night, the next chapter of your quiet, enduring life. Winter settles on the river with a quiet finality, cooling every swirl and darkening every pool. The water feels heavier now, holding a deeper cold that seeps through the mud. You move carefully, conserving warmth, your thick fur guarding against the chill as you glide through the shallows. Food is scarcer, but you know where to look, deep under waterlogged branches, between stones buried in silt, in the quiet backwaters, where beetle larvae still cling to rotting leaves. You hunt patiently, bill twitching with every faint heartbeat of hidden prey. Each small success, a shrimp, a worm, a sluggish insect, feels enough, sustaining you through these long, dark months. Your den becomes more precious than ever, its walls a perfect defense against the winter floods and biting winds. You return to it often, padding the nest chamber with fresh leaves whenever you can, ensuring it stays warm and dry. Sometimes you rest for hours in its safe embrace, listening to the muffled hush of the river outside. That hush reminds you you've made it through many winters before, and you will make it through this one too. The river has tested you again and again, but always you have found a way to survive, to thrive, to live by its timeless rules. Nights grow even longer, and sometimes you wake before dusk truly falls, eager to move, to test the water, to feel the cold rush around your fur. The river seems emptier now, with fewer frogs calling, fewer insects stirring, but you know it is only sleeping, as you will, once you have eaten your fill. You swim along the familiar channels, mapping each subtle change, each new bend or broken branch from the last storm. These are your signposts, your private maps drawn from years of swimming, unshared with any but your own mind. By midwinter you sense the river itself resting, holding its power until spring. The current runs slow, the water clear, the mud packed down tight by the cold. Even the predators seem quieter, though you stay wary, reading every ripple for danger. You have grown wise with seasons, understanding the importance of caution as much as courage. You trust your bill, trust your instincts, trust the silent signals of the river. These are the skills that kept you alive through every flood, every drought, every night of hidden hunters, searching for an easy meal. And still, in the heart of winter there is peace. When you float through a pool so clear you see the sky reflected beneath you, the stars trembling in the water, you feel something close to joy. You are a creature of calm, of quiet, of steady, gentle strength. You belong to this world, even in its coldest nights, and the river belongs to you in return. As you finally return to your den before dawn, bill relaxed, belly full, you curl into your leaf-lined chamber, knowing the river will wait for you through every season yet to come. As the final days of winter slip by, the river seems to stir beneath its icy calm, breathing a quiet promise of coming spring. You feel it in the subtle changes, a faint warmth in the current, a shift in the mud's scent, the first drifting insects daring to hatch early. It awakens something in you too, a gentle readiness, a spark that has carried you through countless seasons. You begin to patrol more actively, revisiting your old feeding places, testing their riches with careful, measured dives. The shrimp move again, their tiny heartbeats easier to read, and beetle larvae wake from the mud to wriggle through the leaf litter. You gather them calmly, bill working with practiced precision, each catch a quiet victory against the lingering cold. Your den has served you faithfully, sheltering you through the worst storms and longest nights. You check its walls one last time before the floods of spring arrive, strengthening any weak spots, layering fresh reeds to keep the nesting chamber warm. You move methodically, driven by an instinct as deep as the river itself, knowing a well-kept den can mean survival died. The river begins to swell with distant snowmelt and rain, rising inch by inch, bringing fresh scents and the thrill of change. It is a dangerous time. Water can rise faster than even the best-built tunnels can withstand, but you have seen many floods before, and you trust your preparation. When the first true spring rain arrives, pounding the surface in a wild drumbeat, you slip deep into the water, letting it wash over you. The current feels powerful, sweeping broken branches and drifting leaves in its rush. You ride it with measured confidence, adjusting your course, reading the river's new moods. The floods may reshape the banks, swallow fallen trees, and carve away soft mud, but you have learned how to adapt. When the waters calm, you will explore these changes, charting new hollows, finding fresh hunting grounds. This cycle of change is as steady as your heartbeat, as old as your kind, and it no longer frightens you. It simply is. As the river finally eases after the first flood, you emerge from your den to a world refreshed. Shoals of small fish sparkle through clear water, frogs resume their songs, insects rise in wild clouds over the reeds. The entire river seems to celebrate, and you join it, gliding through the shallows with a sense of calm delight. Every dive feels easier now, every catch more plentiful. It is the river's gift, and you accept it gratefully, cheeks stuffed with a spring feast. You are stronger for having survived another winter, more skilled, more certain of your place in this watery kingdom. You pause, floating beneath the stars mirrored in the gentle current, and let the cool water hold you. There is no need to rush, no need to worry, only the river and its ancient rhythms. You belong to this place, to its seasons, to its stories, as much a part of its memory as the oldest log or the deepest bend. You close your eyes, bill relaxed, drifting on the calm that only spring can bring, knowing the river will carry you forward, just as it always has. With spring in full voice, the river bustles around you in a way that almost feels overwhelming. The banks swarm with frogs, calling from every patch of damp grass, each one proclaiming its territory in an endless chorus that echoes through the reeds. Dragonflies zip just above the water, wings flashing blue and green in the sun, chasing one another like tiny acrobats. You sense the commotion even before you surface, your bill tingling with the electric signals of countless fish darting through the flooded shallows. Some nights you hunt mosquito fish, quick and silvery, picking them off one by one as they hover at the surface. Other nights you dive for caddisfly larvae buried under a coat of fine silt, teasing them free with your sensitive bill, their earthy taste familiar and filling. Small freshwater crayfish become a spring delicacy, hiding under stones loosened by the floods. You learn to flip those stones in a single, smooth motion, snatching the crayfish before they can retreat. Their shells crunch satisfyingly as you chew them, bits of mud drifting from your cheek pouches as you swallow. Every night brings new variety: water beetles, dragonfly nymphs, even a careless tadpole now and then, plump and easy to catch if you time your strike just right. The river is rich, and you work hard to harvest its gifts, moving through deep holes and quiet backwaters with steady determination. Other animals share these busy spring nights with you. A large, long-necked turtle slides through the current nearby, its ancient head breaking the surface for air before vanishing into a hollow tree root. You sense its slow, measured pulse, but ignore it, knowing you are no threat to each other. A greedy water rat tries to raid a frog's clutch of eggs, the frogs leaping around it in a frantic blur of croaks and kicks. You pause to watch, bill twitching before moving on. Even a big sleepy eel passes you, mouth working slowly, not interested in the same prey you hunt. These neighbors remind you that the river's feast is shared, every hunter with its own specialty, every night a negotiation of who gets what and who moves on hungry. Sometimes you face challenges. One night, a water bird, maybe a heron, lands close, its long legs stabbing through the shallows with ruthless precision. It startles you, sending a wave of minnows scattering in every direction. You dive deep and wait, bill pressed to the mud, sensing the bird's sharp strikes above. Only when it moves off do you rise again, resuming your careful hunt. The river rewards patience, and you have patience in abundance. The days grow longer, and your instincts settle into a steady rhythm. Feed, rest, patrol your territory, defend your den. You check its entrance every night, making sure no predator has found your tunnel, then line it with fresh reeds gathered from the riverbank. The river gives, but it also demands respect. Storms, hawks, water rats, flooding, all things you have learned to survive. That survival, day after day, season after season, is its own quiet triumph. And as dusk returns, you dive again, bill searching, feet steady, ready for the next tiny spark of life, hiding in the river's rich, ever-changing night. The seasons continue their steady march, and you grow older with them, your body carrying the weight of many years. Your fur, once sleek and perfect, grows patchy in places. Your bill, though still sensitive, is slower to respond. Nights seem colder than they once did, and your paddling no longer cuts through the current with the same easy power. Still, you move through the river, as you always have, guided by memory, by instinct, by a lifetime of learning each twist of the channel and each hollow under the reeds. One late summer night, you rise from your den, pushing through the familiar tunnel, feeling the cool river wrap around you. You sense the water's pull, its soft swirl, and set out for one more hunt. A crayfish scuttles under a stone. You try to catch it, but miss. A quick mosquito fish darts by, too quick for your slower strike. You pause, letting the current rock you, breathing in its calm rhythm. You have survived floods and droughts, storms and hawks, but even you cannot outrun time. Then, a sudden pulse through the water, massive, low, dangerous. A saltwater crocodile, its bulk moving with deadly silence, glides from a deep eddy, its eyes locked on you. Your old heart stutters with fear as you twist away, pushing your webbed feet with all the strength left in you. It surges forwards, jaws opening in a rush of bubbles, but you slip through a tangle of roots, scraping your bill, scraping your tail, barely escaping as the predator crashes behind you, snapping at empty water. You hide there, shaking, your body aching, your bill pressed to the mud, safe, but only just. You know then that your time is close. You paddle back to your burrow, slow and tired, letting the river's current carry you the final stretch. The den feels comforting, familiar, smelling of earth and leaf, and all the years you have lived. You crawl inside, curling up in the nest you built so carefully, and close your eyes. Your heartbeat is calm, steady, ready. You have seen seasons change, watched young grow, felt storms tear the banks, survived predators and floods, learned every secret the river could offer. Now, in the hush of your quiet home, you let go. Your breath grows soft. The river moves on, carrying stories of you in every ripple, in every swirl, in every place you once touched. You have left your mark, as surely as the water leaves its mark on stone. And so, peacefully, you rest one final time. Thank you, dear listener, for traveling through this quiet, strange, wonderful life of the platypus. If you enjoyed this calm journey, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with others who might need a gentle escape into nature's hidden worlds. Sleep well, and may the river of dreams carry you through the night, safe and peaceful. Good night.